Hello, LibraryCon attendees. My name is Ofeibea Loveless, and I am the mechanic for Her Royal Airship Ashanti, a multicultural steampunk group here in Cincinnati, as well as the co-founder of the Midwest Black Speculative Fiction Alliance. And I am here to talk to you today about steampunk character building. So let's get started. So what is steampunk? The long and the short of it is steampunk is Victorian science fiction, but a more formal definition is that it is a subgenre of speculative fiction that is often set in alternate history that takes place in industrialized Western societies such as Victorian England or the American Wild West. It incorporates technology and aesthetics design inspired by 19th century industrial steam-powered machinery. So where did the term steampunk come from? Well, it was coined in 1987 by author K.W. Jeter when he wrote into Locust magazine in response to their review of his novel, Infernal Devices. When he used the term, he meant it as a tongue-in-cheek poke at cyberpunk, which had become very popular in the 1980s. So he speculated that his cohort would create novels that were not looking into a dystopian future, but rather throwbacks to a Victorian past. So when you're trying to spot elements of steampunk, whether that be in TV shows, in movies, in person at conventions, here are some of the kind of more traditional elements of steampunk attire. You've got goggles, you've got corsets, you've got top hats, spats, bustles, and circle skirts. So where can you find steampunk in the mainstream? It's pretty much everywhere now. Once steampunk kind of came out of books, it automatically got put into movies, into TV shows. So you see it in movies like The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen or Steam Boy, or you can see it in shows that are anime based. You see it in individual episodes, some of which are listed here on the screen. And the most recent kind of big production of a steampunk movie was the adaptation of Mortal Engines a couple of years ago, 2018. So why participate in steampunk? Steampunk can be inspiring. You can learn new skills, whether that be sewing or leatherworking. It's a chance to have fun and rewrite history, if you will. A chance to empower and express yourself. So how are some people empowering and expressing themselves in steampunk? As of late, more people of color have gotten into the genre. And so you've had this explosion of multiculturalism in steampunk. People of color are interested in the fashion and the visual aesthetics of the genre. And so they are using their own racial and ethnic backgrounds to kind of create characters and get involved in the community. And I want to show you a quick video that illustrates this.
Somewhere between the distant past and the far-off future exists a world where history and fantasy collide. A time and space that breaks all the rules of time and space, where the art of invention is the prevailing power, where the old world magically intertwines with the new and the unknown.
Steampunk is an aesthetic movement inspired by 19th century science fiction and fantasy. I also believe that it's a movement specifically because it is not just media that is being absorbed by the consumer, but it is media that is also being produced by an active, creative, artistic community. Steampunk is a great storytelling vehicle in which people like myself and people that want to really engage in those lost or oppressed urban histories can bring them back to life and talk about how it's still relevant to our world today.
Steampunk grants history new life, revives old tales with new twists, gives flavor to forgotten times. And yet, with all of its creative potential, the spaces for people of color in steampunk stories have remained uninvented.
These character tropes are very much based in European pulp fiction. Where does that situate the the playful identity? Like where's the fun, adventurous role if you happen to be like Chinese and you don't want to be part of the Yellow Peril or Fu Manchu or the Dragon Lady, or if you are Native American, you don't want to be the noble savage or the unnoble savage even. Or you're black and no, I don't want to be a slave. I don't want to be Jim on the raft.
Maybe you've heard of Sherlock Holmes, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. But what happens to stories like these if we change the setting from Europe to Africa? What does retrofuturism look like when a black aesthetic intervenes? Perhaps we learn something new, or see something in a new light. For instance, what if we learned that Brussels skirts, those luxe garments we associate with sophisticated 19th century fashion, were modeled from the figure of a South African woman named Sarah Bartman, who was displayed in Paris like a sideshow act.
In steampunk, we were either non-existent or issues like slavery and things like that were not bursting in the world. It was a thing that people would reenact these things, colonizers and conquerors without guilt, without dealing with issues outside those issues and places.
Steampunk is not just about imagination. It's about reimagination. It's a space to reimagine the future from the lens of the past and to reimagine the past from the lens of the present. It is a Black Victorian fantasy.
So that brings us to my character with Airship Ashanti. As I said before, I am the ship's mechanic, and I chose my character backstory by Googling 19th century Africa warrior women. And what I found was the Mino, which was an all-female regiment of the Kingdom of Dahomey, present-day Benin, West Africa. I wanted to find a backstory in which I could tap into my African heritage, incorporate that, and expand on it. I wanted to give my steampunk character more agency than I would normally have seen in some of the steampunk narratives that I've read or heard about. In addition, I reached out to a friend of mine, Milton Davis, who's an author based in Georgia, and I asked if I could use part of his world building to my backstory. So I made my mother a Mino, one of the Mino, and I made my father a research scientist in the Fredonia Army, which Fredonia is an alternate universe created by Milton. And he has several books set in that universe. And I just thought it was a very interesting way to kind of marry a continental African history with a Black American history. So here's the Airship Ashanti crew, and some of our crew members are also doing the same things with their story. So our captain, Mandisa, has done a similar treatment of her steampunk character the same way that I did mine, as well as our brewmaster, master of spirits, Yasuke. He's done a similar treatment with his character. Airship Ashanti came about in 2014, and I had already put my character together in 2013. And so when I came across Airship Ashanti and how their backstory kind of meshed with my character backstory, I felt like it was kismet. And I've been with the ship ever since. So that was a lot of information to take in. So we're going to get to the meat and potatoes of this presentation, which is how you can create your own steampunk character. So you have to think about who it is that you want your character to be. What is that person's personal history? What are some of their personality traits? What are their skills and talents, their occupations? What do you dream of being when you're this character? So this is a quick time to note that creating a steampunk character is not a chance to be another race or ethnicity or co-opt someone else's culture. It is taking into consideration your own personal background, your own personal family history that you think is interesting, that you feel you could be useful where appropriate for creating your steampunk character. So what I want you to do is go to the LibraryCon website and you will see two documents. These documents are the steampunk resume as well as a profession cheat sheet. So on the resume, it asks you to come up with a name, if you have any aliases, what your profession is. You also pretty much fill it out the way you would fill out a D&D character sheet. If any of you play Dungeons and Dragons, you'll be familiar with some of this language. Not as fantastical as D&D, but you'll still be familiar with some of the language. So once you've downloaded your resume or you've had a chance to peruse it and you've come up with your character's name and filled in as much of the resume as you can, we would love to have you share it with us. So how do you go about sharing your character creation with us? look for this photo on Airship Ashanti's Instagram account and tell us about your character in the comments. I'm hoping that I'll see a lot of good stuff out there. If you have any questions, you can definitely leave those in the comments as well. But really take some time to think about who your character would be in this fantastical setting that you're throwing them into. If you want more information about steampunk, on the screen, here are some additional resources where you can learn a little bit more about the genre. Also, there is a steampunk name generator at the bottom of this screen. I've had a lot of fun kind of going over this with you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to any one of the Airship Ashanti members through our Instagram account, through Facebook if you're there, and we'll see you next year.